Yo. Hey, let me know if y'all can hear me. That's always my first order of business. Make sure that y'all can hear me. Let me go over here. Look like I'm good on this side. Yep. Let me get a mic check. 1 2 1 2. Let me know if you can hear me. If you're on the YouTube side, just click the thumbs up button for me. But you got me. All right, cool. So this, once again, this is just, these are really videos I supposed to be editing and uploading, but I got ADD, so I just want to get it out, man, because sometimes my thing is, you don't know what tomorrow brings, and just go ahead and get the information out there, especially when it could help someone in that sense. But what's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel and whatnot. Today's conversation, real quick, is going to really be about the mysteries of the unseen. You know what I mean? And it's really I was working on my roomie paper today, which every week, let me blow that up. Every week on Thursdays in the Patreon, I drop a quote from Rumi, and our goal is to write about the particular quote, your understanding of it. And then, if you can, in one word, do a 1-sentence summary of everything that you just wrote, right? And so this one here this week was is really a good reflection of what I have been thinking the current week. And it says, study me as much as you like. You will not know me, for I differ in 100 ways from which you see me to be. Put yourself behind my eyes and see me as I see myself, for I have chosen to dwell in a place you cannot see. Now, the way I wrote it, this is not Rumi. This is God. Simply because, again, I'm looking at my own reflections of things, my own thought process, and like you'll never see God, right? Why do I say that? Because, and I've been saying it forever, right? The moment that you see God decides to come out of hiding and be like, here I am, everybody, what's up? The rational mind should be like, wait a minute, hold on, what are you made of? I see you now. I see hair is made of something. Oh, I see hands and feet. Oh, hold on, we already know that anything that's visible is going to be something that's invisible, that's giving the thing visible its function. And that makes the thing dependent upon that. So no water, plants die. No oxygen, humans die. Right? No hydrogen, no sun. Right? You take hydrogen away, you start to I don't want to say manipulate, but you start to just take away the value of an atom, right? So if you change one thing, it would no longer be this atom. It may become this atom now, because this atom has 7 electrons and not 6 like this one. You see what I'm saying? And so all things finite is composed of things, and the creator really can't be composed of things. You see what I'm saying? And this is why in the mystery schools, they tell us that God is something that your mind can't even begin to fathom, right? And it's like, I'll be taking a challenge. Like, are you crazy? I'm gonna figure this thing out. It has to, right? So, but they tell you that, nah, you can't. And you can see the oxymorons when you can see a pattern or something, and then the pattern totally just morph into something else. So we know that in classical physics versus quantum physics, the rules change drastically. And it's sort of like mathematics, right? It's like, you know, um, two odds equal even. Why don't two odds just make another odd? Where did it even come from? You see what I'm saying? So it's like these rules, it gets weird in a sense, right? So anyway, pondering on this, I wrote on it today. So I'm caught up in my Rumi lessons. The Rumi lessons to me is really one of my favorite things to do, if not the, well, physical exercise, one of my favorite things to do for sure, because it's a beautiful thing of contemplation on creation, right? Um, so this brings me to um something I had put on my board about 2 or 3 summers ago back at my apartment, where what I put on the board was faith, trust, and surrender. And these are the tenets right here, right? Faith, trust, and surrender. Okay. It's very important because the conversation, since God is always in the realm of the unseen, right? The question I pose is, okay, then what would be the lesson inside of being invisible, hidden, and unseen? What do you possibly want me as a human being that says I believe in you? What do you want me to learn from you where you never really come out and reveal yourself like, hey, it's me, right? It dawned on me some years ago, and I said, that's what it is. Faith, trust, and surrender. That's what it's about, especially the middle one, trust. Because if you look at the definitions for faith and trust, they're not the same thing. Faith is more of a belief in something that's unseen. There's no tangible evidence often related to spirituality because it's unseen. So it's a belief in something unseen. Whereas trust definition is like, oh, it's a belief based upon evidence. I say I'm gonna come through at 4 o'clock. I'm always there at 4 o'clock. You kind of trust that I'm gonna be there at 4 o'clock because I'm always on time, right? All right. So trust denotes an evolution of faith. And I say, yo, that's interesting. So not just have faith in the unseen. No, no, no. It has to evolve to a trust. And then even on the human terms, right? Like we struggle with trust with one another, rightfully so, right? We struggle with each other with trust. Okay. But I'm like, wow, is it easier to have trust in the unseen, but yet struggle with having trust with physical people? So then the question I had asked myself was like, well, okay, well, how can you say you trust the unseen God, but you don't even trust the creation of God? It's just a question, right? Uh-oh. So it's just a question. How can you do that, right? And I'm not saying we're supposed to trust people. I'm not saying that. It's more of a philosophical conversation right now, right? So I said, okay, all right. So let's delve into some things real fast. All right. The unseen. The unseen in Arabic is made up of three um, letters: the Ghain, Ya, Ba. And remember, in Arabic, the actual Arabic letters in the middle, we're going to read them from right to left, which is Ain, Ya, Ba. And the Ain, or I'm sorry, the Ghain is more the one that looks like an E, right? So that's Ghain. All right. So we read it from right to left. Now, that letter is the last letter of the Arabic alphabet, the very last letter. Okay. And its symbolism is the unseen, the veil, the mysteries. Okay. So that letter in itself literally means unseen. because it's the last letter, right? The Yah represents the hand, which means guidance. That's why you always hear that thing like, take me by the hand, right? So, take me by the hand. It's kind of like this thing of guidance and teaching, okay? So, the unseen that's guiding, that's the Yah. The Ba, the last letter, Ba, literally represents duality, okay? Yeah, I can let me get my hookah on, man. So the Yah, the Ba represents duality, and I'm gonna show you. I'll show you. I'll show you because see, in the Arabic, what is the very first letter and word in the Quran? As soon as you open it up, it says Bismi, the letter B, the Ba, Bismi, which says they say, hey, this means in the name. So the letter B, which represents duality, is literally the first letter in the Quran. But the same is true when we go to the Torah, because we do is say Barashith. Barashith means in the beginning. So the letter B opens up the Bible. The letter B opens up the Quran. Barashith Bismi. What's going on with the letter B? So again, when you understand the B, the Ba, again, second letter represents duality, this dual force, okay? Which later is going to manifest itself as through creation, male, female, the dual force. But the dual force make one. So it's the two forces of the one, okay? So the unseen literally is the unseen guiding us through duality. That's what unseen represents. It's a guiding intelligence within duality. Okay? That's what the unseen is. Now, unseen is mentioned in the Quran over 60 something times. So it's there a lot. And I'm telling you, it's there for a reason. Okay. So it's there a lot. So again, the unseen literally represents the unseen guidance of duality. Okay. All right. Now let's look at believe. Because see, in the Quran, it talks about belief a lot. Who believe in the unseen, who believe in the unseen, who believe in the unseen. Well, the first letter from right to left is Hamza. Hamza is not a letter. Hamza is more of what they call, it shows you how to pronounce a word. Okay. So it kind of almost have a ah sound, but it's showing you how to pronounce a word. So your second one in the middle is meme. That's water. That's the letter M. The last letter is noon, as in Nancy, N. Okay. So you can say Hameen or Amin. It's like the word Amina means trustworthy. Okay. So Amin is believe. But now, okay, how do we believe, or what are we to believe in? So now we start to get some context here to understand how to believe, or, believe in the unseen. Okay, what about the unseen now? So let's get into what meme and noon means, right? Well, I guess before we do that, I'm going to show you. They'll tell you that this word also means faith. I said, wow, I knew this because again, a couple years ago, I wrote faith, trust, surrender. Uh oh. All right, hold on. Wait a minute. Let me see something. Check, check, check. All right, let me know if y'all. Oh, we switched microphones on this thing. See, I'm having some USB issues like a mug, and I'm not appreciating it. All right, let me know if hold on one second. Hey, my webcam there don't want to come on. Oh, man, this thing is bugging out. Hold on, yeah. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, hold on. Got you there. Let me see. Let me know if let me know if y'all can hear me. I don't feel like troubleshooting right now. But let me know if y'all can hear me real quick. And let me get a mic check. Can y'all hear me? All right, cool, cool. That's cool. That's cool. Good thing it's daytime. So the word believe, as you can see at the bottom, so we know that we on the same word, it says belief, right? But that same word for belief also translates into faith, which I'm saying is the first pillar, is believing in the unseen. But I'm telling you that faith is going to have to evolve. We're going to have to evolve faith. Okay. So when we look at it now, guess what? It means trust. You still see the word believe at the top, but in the middle it says what? Trust. So that same word literally means believe, faith, trust. So I'm telling you, we're going to have to evolve from faith and go into trust. Okay. All right. So we got that. Now let's look at for the word believe. Mean equals water. Water is the womb. Literally, definitions for esoteric definitions, I should say, that goes to this letter represents the womb because obviously the womb breaks water, right? Collective subconscious. Noon, which is M and N comes directly after M, represents fish, the continuation of life. And I said, oh, I know what you're talking about. What do you mean fish in water and womb? Like, if this is the word believe, water in the womb and fish, a continuation of life, what are you talking about? Here's the real fish. The real fish is the sperm. The womb houses the egg. The fish swims within water, which we saw was a definition for the womb or a letter for the womb. So it goes into the womb, it goes into the water. So this is really what belief is. It's the science of creation. Literally, the belief is the science of creation. Okay. Now, looky here, what the Quran says, and that he creates the two mates, the male and the female, from a sperm drop when emitted. So I'm not making this up when I'm saying, hey, these are, I'm showing you the definitions from the schools that have been recorded what these letters mean. But it's also that same concept literally is in the Quran talking about, hey, I made you from a semen drop, bro. Hey, sis, I made you from a semen drop. And then he got some other stories in there to take you up into the womb, right? All right. So now, and this is interesting because this is in Surah 53, verses 45 and 46, right? Now, I know because I know Surah 53, a couple verses later, you know what it says? A couple verses later, in verse 49, he is the Lord of Sirius. That's just in verse 49. 3 verses ago, in 46, you talking about making male and female from a sperm drop. So wait a minute. If you're making male and female from a sperm drop, and then you go on and talk about creation, a man and woman, then all of a sudden you come out and say, yeah, and I'm the Lord of Sirius. Then the question I would have to ask, what does Sirius have to do with our creation? What does Sirius got to do with a sperm drop? I find that very interesting, and I did a video on this before, how the Dogon, they've been saying like, hey, it was some people called Nomos that came from Sirius. And then some say the fish people, which we saw the letter Nun in belief represents fish, right? So it's in African cosmology, heavily again in the Dogon science, that intelligent beings actually came from Sirius and has something to do with human beings, right? I ain't trying to sound like I'm Billy Carson or anything, you know what I mean? But, no pun, but I'm just saying that is something that's talked about inside of the Dogon, okay? So what's up, Twan? Yusef said 46 chromosomes. Yep. And then when we get to Sirius, right? Very interesting. And when we get to Sirius, and that's in verse 49, he's the Lord of Sirius. Sirius rotation, Sirius has a companion star called Sirius B, right? Sirius B is going around Sirius A, and it takes 49.9 years, almost 50 years, but 49 years to complete this orbit. And this is verse 49. You see what I'm saying? That's how mathematical the Quran does get. It gets like that. These are known as the miracles of the Quran. When you take science, which all form biology, astronomy, just take science, geology, the waters of the seas don't mix because the Atlantic Ocean don't mix with the Pacific Ocean. There's a thin barrier that's in between that separates them oceans. If you go look at the bottom of South America, where the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific meet, and you would see that those oceans don't mix, right? So it's a thin little barrier there, all right? So that's in the Quran. So the Quran is a very highly scientific book, all right? All right, so moving on. So then I said, you know what? In chapter 77, which translate those sent forth, it reads, we created you from what? Water. We created you from water. Was that not the first letter? Well, technically the second letter in the word believe. The mean was water. And the Quran says, yeah, we created you from water. Right? So that's there. All right. It's another verse in the Quran that says, we created man from a semen drop, a mixture, so we would test him. Now, I'm going to get into tests later. I'm going to also get into what the womb is in a later video as well. That's going to blow your mind. But look at the word for semen drop, y'all. How do you pronounce that in Arabic? They said nut fatin. Now, I'm sorry. You mean to tell me the word for semen drop? I'm going to say it like this. Allah knew you was going to be busting nuts. He knew this. The Arabic says semen drop means nut fatin. So when you say, I need to bust a nut, I need to bust. Okay, we already know this. You know what I'm saying? We already know this. So we're going to make this word for that, right? So you're not even really out of pocket when you say that. Not when you in the Arabic, you're not out of pocket. All right. So Allah know you was one nut busting person. Okay. All right. Okay. So anyway, man, last slide. This is gonna be real quick. You know what I mean? The beautiful thing about the faith, because remember, this whole thing is really about faith, but evolving faith into trust. But the Quran says, but listen, we're gonna test you. And I'm gonna show you what that test means. We're gonna test you. One of the ways that you can test yourself is through the discipline of the 5 daily prayers. I'm telling you, the 5 daily prayers is the ultimate challenge to ego, because it's gonna be days you're not gonna feel like it, especially if you ain't used to it. You're not gonna feel like it, especially when Fajr comes. Oh man, I just went to sleep at 3 o'clock. Why are you trying to wake me up at 6 something in the summer, maybe 5 something? Oh, come on, right? You start all this conversation. But anyway, it's a beautiful way to not only test yourself, but it's a beautiful way to start to purify the self as well. All right. So anyway, man, that really concludes. I just really want to get into the esoteric side of what this whole faith thing is about, and this unseen is about. But again, the unseen is 100% about there is a guiding force from an unseen realm that interplays with duality. Okay, again, we call it the law of polarity. The Quran by far is the book of, it is the Hermetic book. It's just in a different form. So when you say the all, that's Allah. Even look at the word all, Allah. Okay, when it talks about again, polarity, we made you male, female. It's a whole bunch of descriptions of polarity inside of there. We gave you the sun and moon for you for calculation devices and made them subservient to you. That's rhythm. At that particular point, the sun and the moon, they move in a cosmic orbit, as the Quran says. That's the law of rhythm. You see what I'm saying? So, as I showed before, let me get rid of that. As I showed before, the Quran in Islam is really a beautiful, really mystical tradition that continues the universal truth of our African ancestors. Just got to be honest about it. You know what I'm saying? This is what it is. All right. So ponder on that. Really getting inside of the unseen and this realm of this beautiful. I want to say illusion. When I say illusion, I'm not saying it's not real. I don't teach illusion that, this whole place is an illusion. Okay. I bet you don't go put your hand in some fire though. So I don't say illusion like it's fake. Illusion to me simply means don't mistake that for the ultimate reality. You know what I'm saying? Or understanding that the two make one. And the best way you can see that is when man and woman come together, they can create one child. Two makes one. So that's opposite of mathematics. Two come together, they should produce a third. And they do produce a third. There we go, the third being in the family, but that is still one being. So two produces one. You see what I'm saying? So math is beautiful, man. Math is beautiful. The Quran even talks about math and how these surahs are composed. You know what I'm saying? Literally, it talks about the structure of the book. And for us to act, the Quran actually says, challenge the book and see if you can find any falsehood. Challenge it. And I watch a lot of what's called Muslim revert stories on YouTube, and it usually be the white guys, because see, white men tend to be very left brain, right? I don't think they're really mystical. I think they're right brain. They're really analytical left brainers. So for them to challenge, I've seen when they purposely like, I read that because I wanted to disprove the Quran anyway. And every time, I can't say every time, from the videos I've seen, the people who set out to disprove the Quran end up accepting the Quran, taking Shahada, and becoming one who surrenders to the guidance of the Quran. Literally, every single time I've seen it, right? So it's a beautiful book, and I think that you should challenge it because you are a human functional being with a conscience, right? So it's a private study that we're doing that deals with, it makes this statement that our job is to prove the existence of God. That's heavy. Because the way I see that is, imagine being like in a college, teaching room, and you have to come up and give a presentation or get on the drawing board, and you have to prove the existence of God. That's heavy, man. That's heavy because it's unseen. So how can you prove it? So you're gonna have to prove it through creation. You're gonna have to start proving it through really what we call these hermetic laws. This whole law of rhythm and vibration and polarity and gender, cause and effect, right? You're gonna have to start proving it through that. And everything that's created comes from a creator anyway. It's always going to reduce itself back to one. But it's a lot of things that you have to reduce in creation to get there, right? So then you can safely posit that, okay, one exists because millions exist. A million exists because 999,099 exists. And that exists because the previous number exists. And it's just basically mathematics, right? But if you understand the concept of speed, you can go so fast that you can break a sound barrier. You can go so fast that technically you're already there. Technically, you're already there. You can go so fast. The measurement of how, you're already there because you're going that fast. Okay? Kind of like take the speed of light, and how fast will it take the speed of light from your location to another location, and it travels at 186,000 miles per second. You see what I'm saying? So in a calculator, it'll throw an error and a negative sign because now you start to reverse orientation and you're already in the future already. That's just math. You see what I'm saying? So when we hear these sayings like the Lord of the East and the West, and it's like, ooh, we start to get in a quantum conversation when you say that. You see what I'm saying? All right, man. So I just wanted to share that with you, these beautiful mystical letters, man. Join me in the Patreon. It's a beautiful study. You know what I mean? For those of us that like to study, you know what I mean? It's there. And see you on the next video. All right. Peace.